the book for kids about how to get a quiet night when your neighbor is loud. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Billy who had a loud neighbor. The neighbor was always playing loud music, yelling at his kids, and having parties late at night. Billy couldn't get a good night's sleep, and he was starting to get really tired. One day, Billy decided to talk to his neighbor about the noise. He went over to his house and knocked on the door. The neighbor answered the door, and Billy politely explained that the noise was keeping him up at night. The neighbor was apologetic, and he promised to try to be quieter. But a few days later, the noise started up again. Billy was really frustrated. Billy decided to talk to his parents about the problem. His parents were very understanding, and they helped him to come up with a plan. First, Billy's parents helped him to create a bedtime routine. This helped Billy to wind down before bed and get ready for sleep. Second, Billy's parents bought him a white noise machine. This helped to block out the noise from the neighbor's house. Third, Billy's parents helped him to make his bedroom as dark and quiet as possible. They closed the curtains and turned off all of the lights. Billy followed his parents' advice, and he started to get a better night's sleep. He still heard some noise from the neighbor's house, but the white noise machine helped to block it out. Billy learned that there are things you can do to get a good night's sleep, even if your neighbor is loud. If you're having trouble sleeping, talk to your parents and they can help you come up with a plan. Tips for kids about how to get a good night's sleep: go to bed and wake up at the same time each day, even on weekends. Create a relaxing bedtime routine. This could include taking a bath, reading a book, or listening to calming music. Make sure your bedroom is dark, quiet, and cool. Avoid soda, juice, and sweet candy before bed. Get regular exercise, but avoid exercising too close to bedtime. If you can't fall asleep after 20 minutes, get out of bed and do something relaxing until you feel tired. If you're still having trouble sleeping, talk to your parents. Book description: you have a loud neighbor who keeps you up at night. If so, you're not alone. But don't worry, there are things you can do to get a good night's sleep, even if your neighbor is being noisy. This book is for kids who are struggling to sleep because of their neighbor's noise. It teaches them simple and effective strategies for blocking out the noise and getting a good night's rest. The book is written in a fun and engaging way, with illustrations that will help kids understand the concepts. It also includes a bedtime story to help kids relax before bed. If you're looking for a way to help your child get a good night's sleep, even if they have a loud neighbor, this book is for you. Who should read this book? Kids who are struggling to sleep because of their neighbor's noise. Parents of kids who have loud neighbors. Anyone who wants to learn how to block out noise and get a good night's sleep. We read this book to learn simple and effective strategies for blocking out noise to get a good night's sleep, even if your neighbor is being noisy. To read a fun and engaging book with illustrations to enjoy a bedtime story that will help you relax before bed. Order your copy of the book for kids about how to get a quiet night when your neighbor is loud today, and help your child. Story, Chapter 1. The Sound Symphony. Billy lived in a cozy little house that was as quiet as a library, until the Garcias moved in next door. It was like a rock concert moved in. There was Mr. Garcia, whose trumpet sounded more like a wounded walrus, Mrs. Garcia, whose laugh could shatter glass, and their 3 kids, who were human tornadoes with noisemakers attached. Billy's room was the epicenter of the noise storm. Every night, he'd try to build a fort out of pillows, hoping to create a silent oasis. But the sound waves would seep through like water through a sieve. It was like living in a jungle with howler monkeys as neighbors. Chapter 2. A Quiet Conversation. Gathering all his courage and a deep breath, Billy knocked on the Garcia's door. It felt like knocking on a drum. Mrs. Garcia answered, looking like she was ready for a party. Billy explained his plight, his voice as small as a mouse compared to the usual Garcia volume. Mrs. Garcia's eyes widened in surprise. "You mean our little angels aren't music to your ears?" She joked, but there was a hint of understanding in her eyes. She promised to have a family noise meeting. Billy wasn't sure if that would help, but it was worth a shot. Chapter 3. The Great Noise Experiment. Billy's parents, ever the problem solvers, decided to turn the noise into a science project. They bought earplugs shaped like cute animals, but they looked ridiculous on Billy. The noise-canceling headphones were like wearing a helmet, and he felt like an astronaut. But the white noise machine? That was a game-changer. It sounded like a gentle rainforest, and Billy felt like he was on vacation. Chapter 4: Sleep Sanctuary. Billy's bedroom transformation was a work of art. He hung blackout curtains so thick that even sunlight couldn't penetrate. His bed was a cloud of pillows, and the white noise machine was on full blast. It was like camping indoors, without the bugs. The first night in his new sanctuary was magical. He felt like a spy, hiding from the enemy noise. He even started dreaming in stereo, with the white noise as a soothing background track. Chapter 5: A neighborhood compromise. The neighborhood meeting was a cacophony of noise. Everyone had something to say, from the old lady who complained about barking dogs to the kid who wanted a trampoline. But when Billy spoke, there was a hush. The Garcias suggested a noise curfew. After PM, it would be quiet time. Billy's parents offered to plant some sound-absorbing bushes. It was a win-win situation, or as Billy's dad put it, a noise-lose situation. Chapter 6: Sweet Dreams. With the new noise rules in place, Billy slept like a baby. The occasional trumpet solo or kitty scream couldn't penetrate his fortress of quiet. He even started dreaming about being a superhero who fought noise pollution. Billy learned that even in the loudest of neighborhoods, peace can be found. And sometimes, the best way to deal with noise is with a little creativity, a lot of patience, and a really good white noise machine. Chapter 7: The Sound of Silence. Billy's life had changed. He was no longer a prisoner in his room. He could play in the backyard without flinching at every noise. He even made friends with the Garcia kids, discovering they were actually pretty cool once you got past the noise. The moral of the story? Noise can be a problem, but communication and compromise can turn it into harmony. Sometimes, the loudest problems need the quietest solutions. Postscript: the creeping quit. After a while, the silence became almost as strange as the noise. Billy missed the distant laughter, the clanging pots and pans, even Mr. Garcia's off-key trumpet. It was like living in a world without color. One day, he knocked on the Garcia's door again. This time, he brought over some homemade cookies. As he handed them over, he realized he missed his noisy neighbors. And maybe, just maybe, little noise wasn't so bad after all. The end.